All right, settling down. Dirty ass glasses, though, man. I don't know if that made it any better. I can't see anything, anyways. But what's going on, guys? Welcome back to yet again. What's up, guys? Welcome to Monday. How you all doing? We're back. We're back again. What's up? Cool stuff to talk about. Some channels to talk about. Going over last week. You know how we do it. Let's get in this. What's cracking, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Honda Recap. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that thumbs up and that bell so you're notified every Monday night at 6 p.m. West Coast time when this comes out. Hanging out live-ish in premiere with all you guys out there. What's up, guys? How you all doing? What'd you do this weekend? Did you have fun? Did you work on your car? Did you get any new parts? What's going on? Fill me in. How you all doing? Yet again, hanging out here, talking YouTube, talking topics now. I'm really enjoying that. Being able to just do longer format content, talk to you guys, kind of brain dump on a bunch of stuff that I think about every now and then, and then just kind of, throwing it out, throwing the ball out your direction. Hopefully you guys are receptive to it, and some of you have been. A lot of you have been, actually, so I really appreciate that. Anyways, guys, I am working on a revamp of my website, HondaVlogs.com/shop if you want to buy some, otherwise HondaVlogs.com. I'm going to be expanding what I want to do with the website, so I'm kind of putting an effort there. It's a little right now, and I'll be honest with you, it sucks to say that because I help build a lot of them, and I just don't put any effort into mine. So I'm going to start putting effort into mine, so you're going to be able to see like what I can produce. So that's basically what I'm working on now. So in the future, there will be a new website. Things will be looking better, running a lot faster, and just more organized and put together. So that's on the agenda. Yeah. So hit me up actually in the DMs or in the comments here if you've ever written for anything like magazines, or if you ever enjoyed writing or wanted to write anything like article style reviews, anything like that. Let me know. I'd be interested to talk to you guys, go back and forth. Maybe we can make something happen. But I have been working on my website, so that's definitely something that's been going on right now. I've been trying to take a little bit more commissions to helping do other things like intros and things like that. So that's been kind of going fun. Just kind of doing some stuff on the side, trying to make, my life a little bit more fun, do the more editing thing in the meantime. I picked up a couple things to allow me to make some big moves on the Del Sol. And by big moves, I just mean, finish some things up because I really miss that car. And I have some more stuff I want to put into it, kind of clean up, and so I can kind of start driving it a lot more. I had an auto ECU. I made it a manual, turned the car right on. So cool ECU for the Del Sol. A lot of random stuff I've been doing, around the outside. I've been thinking of just hitting somebody up and getting the Del Sol maybe resprayed, just, giving it, a nice little coat of love. I had to get the RSX smogged, but apparently the guy I go to every year decided that the Shorty Megan header was not carb legal. It's not, but it looks identical to the OEM one. So I got my hands on an OEM one, and it's on its way right now. So I literally got to swap that to go and get the car smogged so that it's actually legal, which is just annoying because it passed everything else. But he was just like, oh yeah, I gotta ding you there, kid. But with that said, that's going on right there. So big stuff happening. By big, I mean just stuff, which I'm excited for because it'll, I got some extra tools that I needed and some parts on the way to kind of just finish these things off so I can start driving these cars because, man, I miss it, and I just haven't been really making any progress lately. I've been doing a lot more work and trying to do a little bit more side hustles, but the side hustles don't always work out, you know what I'm saying? So the work is always steady, so that's why I enjoy doing that. But I wanted to kick into what we were talking about last week, which was, do you think takeovers are a phase? What do you think of them? And I'm really excited that a lot of you actually chimed in some bigger responses that I probably won't get into right now because they're kind of large and then it kind of gets broken up. But I really encourage you guys to go into last week's recap and really read some of the stories that you guys have written. I'm really excited that you guys have written those because it kind of opened my eyes, and not everybody is in agreement, which is exactly what I wanted. So don't think that's what I want. I was like, oh, offended or anything. No. I wanted you guys to not be on my side. Well, at least for this, right? I mean, come on, you know what I'm saying? But no, you guys had some really good insight, real thought. A couple of you put in the time to actually write how you feel, why you feel that way, and that's all I could ask of you guys, because it's really exciting for me to be able to be like, yo, that's awesome. I understand why you think the way you do. So props to you guys. Thanks for doing that. This week I wanted to get into a new topic, which was what makes a build unique. And this is something that I've really thought about too in the future, not in the future, but I think about in the future, but I've thought about in the past as I see builds that are getting made. And I think we all kind of see that some builds, depending on chassis, end up certain ways. And I think the reason that is because obviously we have so many platforms and they get built in so many different ways. But there's a couple other things at stake here, right? So if you want to go aftermarket body-wise, you don't really have too many options, right? So you can go OEM and kind of swap things around, right? Like the EK, you got like J-Blood, you got like pre-96 and 99, and then you got different fenders. You can even get Rocket Bunny for the EK. You can get Rocket Bunny for the EG. You can get a lot of different things for those chassis, and obviously I love the EF and the Del Sol, and I have the RSX, and it kind of makes it difficult because you're like, yo, where do you go with this? You know, because there's so many options you could go. A lot of DC5 guys end up going DC5R, and then, you know, if they can find the parts, you'll go like Mugen everywhere or Spoon and kind of go that direction. With the EF, you're either going super OEM. I've been really liking the Track Life / Higgins built not charge speed fenders, but similar, you know what I'm saying. But Higgins built and Track Life created a fenders that actually is on the Higgins built EF, which is really awesome. And it's something that I've been kind of looking at because it's like, it gives it a little bit of flair to the front end of the EF that it never really got in the past, you know, outside of like Wings West and Sea West and stuff like that. And those kind of body kits, but like OEM hardcore track viewing kind of aspect, right? The Del Sol didn't really get too much loves. We got the Mugen front, obviously, because Mugen gets, you know, I'm just going to say Mugen, whatever. But Mugen had made a lot of stuff for a lot of different chassis, so, you know, I'm happy about that. Obviously, I think there's a Camry or something like that, too, for the Del Sol, and then otherwise, you just kind of go your own way with that chassis. The EG, I think, got the most love because you just get body parts, front ends, rear ends, but when I say that, I mean bumpers, body kits, anything you want for the EG, you know, especially the hatchback. The hatchback really took off, so it's got a lot of the majority of the options. But what makes a build unique? Now, we see a lot of builds that made it pretty big, right? Obviously, Big Mike and his Prelude. We got Ryan from YY with the Integra. We even have Sheepy, you know, Alex Soto with his Integra. We got a lot of these massive builds, right? They're like iconic builds that came out. And I'm not downplaying it, but when I said iconic builds, you know, I'm just clearing the air on that. What I'm saying is like they exist, right? But then when you dial down and we see these other builds, obviously you shave the bay, you paint it, and then you pop the hood and it's just like, it's full of brand names, which is totally fine. I have no problem with this. There's going to be a lot, okay, just right off the bat, there's going to be a lot of the stuff that I say right now that is going to sound like I'm hating, but I know a lot of us think of it. So that's why I'm kind of like, yo, what do you guys think of these builds? There's like a lineage, you know what I mean? Like if this was an RPG and you had like 3 different ways you could go, like what element are you going to go for, right? Are you going to go for like melee? You're going to go range? You're going to go healer, right? You have all of those like avenues that you could go for. And I think many people pick one and they run for it, right? And then there's a small like little group of people that kind of hodgepodge their way through this, which I appreciate because like when you look at their build, you're looking at all angles and you're like, wow, okay, so you did this here and you did this here, you know, and I'll straight off the bat, like the one thing I hate is when people have Del Sols and they like straight JDM out the Del Sol, but they'll get the EDM rear like fog garnish in the back with the little reverse light deal, and that bothers me just because like that's EDM, not JDM, but everything else is JDM because you wanted to JDM it out. Things like that, you know? Like a lot of people do EDM and JDM at the same time, and it's like that guy doesn't really work like that, guys. Pick one, right? Anyways, what makes a build unique? What sets it apart in your eyes? I talked to some people, and you know, there's some people that stuck with a single chassis for a very long time, and whether or not they switch to a new car, same chassis, they build it exactly the same way at like rapid speed because their knowledge is there, and they're like, well, I can just go all in and build it how I want it, right? And then there's some people who have had their cars for a very long time, like their first car, you know what I mean? And parts didn't exist for it yet, right? Companies didn't start manufacturing things for that car yet. So they had the best or what they loved at the time, right? Like if you bought a car, let's just say in 95, and then you've had it the whole way, now we're in 2020, right? Like you built it the way it is then, and then you kind of switched it up and switched it up and switched it up, and then you got like a door ding, so you kind of changed the fenders on that, and then you got a scratch, so you put a sticker, and then later that sticker went away, and you did this and you did that. And before you know it, you have this guy's car and he's had it 20 years and there's no other car like it because he's just like, well, I needed this, I needed X, I needed X, Y, and Z, and then I ended up getting all this stuff together, and it just makes these cars super unique in my opinion because they are just owner created. They are not parts bucket cars. They're not like off the shelf built cookie cutter car. Like you had to own the car, deal with your problems, buff things out, replace parts, get it repainted, make it work the whole way through. And those are things to me that make a car incredibly unique. And I respect the people that have had their car for so long that they're just like, it's totally mine, right? Like my buddy James, long time ago, he has his FA5, and the more you looked at his car, and I made a video on it, if you go back and check it out, he has a carbon fiber front end, and just the way he went around his car, you knew it was James's car. And you were just like, wow, this is legit. And there will be no other FA5 like it because that is his car. And that's what I believe a true unique build is when you sit there and you have no idea how the person built it the way they did. Because I don't even think they had a mission. They just continued to build and add upon their creation. You know what I mean? It's like building some gumbo or some chili or some shit. You know what I'm saying? Like you build upon this thing the entire time. So I guess my question to you guys is, what in your mind would qualify for a unique build? What would it be? What would it be? Is it a chassis, the parts, the person maybe? And then how do you feel about cars that have a lot of the same parts? And again, nobody hates on anybody, and I respect everything anybody do. Because some people, they look at things and they're like, I want it, and they go out and they get it. And that's totally respectful, and I am exactly the same way. But we're now at a point now where you can pick a chassis and build a car, and sometimes I see like EK hatches, like they get built a lot of the same way, and I love them because the J-Blood bumper looks so sick in my opinion. But like at the same time, you're like, damn, what else is there, right? And I've been following a lot of like NSXs, right? Obviously because my buddy has one, and then I kind of see them if they pop up really cheap. I'm always looking at them, and you're looking at what builds they are, and you can kind of tell when this NSX existed by like the wheels it had on it, or the body kit possibly that it had on it, you know what I mean? Or if they had like, what is it, like the Marga Hills kit, you're kind of like, okay, you went that direction, and then you change the whole car to look like that, right? And then some people do NA2 conversions on the NA1s, which makes no sense to me because I'm like, why did you remove the pop-ups, But like I said, you see these cars pop up and you're kind of like, oh, okay, this car is stuck in a generation. It got stuck in 2004 and now it's back on the market, but it totally kept its era, right? And that's what I see with a lot of the early 90s JDM, obviously, cars. EG, EK, EF, like some cars pop up and you're like, okay, it's staying in that era, in that generation. And I really love that about it, you know what I mean? So I'm really enjoying seeing cars that are still stuck in the early 2000s and they just kept that era, that vibe, that feeling that this is how we're going to stay. And I'm really, really excited about it. And the reason I went with NSX is because they're coming back on the market. People are seeing the value go up and they're going to sell them. And because they go to sell them, you kind of see how they arrive. Obviously it's an NSX. You're like, wow, I hella want that. But some people like built their cars back in the early 2000s, 99, 98, 97s, and they built them to what was out then. And then they just kind of like put them away. And now they're coming back and you're starting to see all these crazy parts and stuff on them and these kits and like doing these swaps. Well, not really swaps, but like there's a guy in Oregon that makes like a J series engine swap that goes in the back of the NSX. Obviously it's in the back of the NSX, but you use like the C series transmission and you change like 2 mounts for the rear of the motor, and now you have a J swap in your NSX. It's still a V6. It's obviously not like a C30 or C32, but it's not bad. But things like that are starting to be made in that platform so that when you see them arrive on wherever these random websites are, Bring a Trailer, or wherever you see NSXs pop up on Craigslist, you're kind of like, wow, okay, that got stuck in this era with these parts, and those wheels are straight out of 2004 and probably weigh 72 pounds a corner. You get my point, right? So what makes a build unique to you? Is it body parts? And also, I guess I'll throw this one out there too, because like I've been kind of racking my brain on this one, which is, what chassis do you see more often than others, and how are they being built? I know that's kind of complex. Let's kind of break it down, right? So like, oh, I see a lot of EGs with this kit and these wheels, or EKs with this kit, those wheels, and these seats. And we both know what we're talking about. We see these builds all over the place. People have the same parts, and it's because they just look good that way. So you kind of want to go there, right? It's like getting your first set of TEs, and you're just like, I'm going to throw them on everything. It's just the way it is sometimes, you know what I mean? So, two-parter. Sorry I keep doing these, but I'm really enjoying just reading you guys', I'm reading you guys' comments, man, and it's sick, What makes a build unique? Let me know below. Also, what chassis do you feel is, I'm just going to say, like, overplayed, I guess, right now? Or what have you seen too much of? Or just what are you seeing a lot of right now? Let's like Google Analytic this right now. Like, what chassis do you see a lot of on Instagram or YouTube or what right now? What do you think people are gravitating to? I feel like people who want to build channels are gravitating towards EKs, who are like coming from other chassis. I think EK kind of grabs them. Not so much EG and everything below that. I think EK is really grabbing people who come from like other chassis. Like if you had a Subaru or an Evo, for some reason you gravitate to an EK. Maybe it's just bigger, more muscular. But you know what I'm saying? That's just my opinion. But anyways, guys, thanks for always commenting in the past. Thanks for commenting now. That's it for today. Sorry to keep it really short, but I really wanted to get to the point, and hopefully I can get more of you to actually comment in the comments below. Hit that thumbs up, hit that bell, get notified, guys. Make sure you select all notifications so that way you hit everything that I put out, because obviously I want to bring that up so you guys know when we're going live. All right, guys, I want to go over what I've been watching on YouTube. It's going to be a shorter list. I know, I'm sorry, but it's just some of the stuff that's really been grabbing me lately, and it's interesting, and maybe we can talk about it in future episodes, right? So to kick this off, it is garage-built Honda John Widmer out there. And when I was watching him work on his car, I was like, wow, he's got a shop now. And I was like, oh, yeah, that's right. He's got a shop now, because everything looks different from where he set up the camera. And he's doing some work on the EF, Jackson Racing Supercharger, doing a timing belt, kind of rebuilding the supercharger a little bit from the outside, you know what I mean? So I'm really excited for this, man. You've put in a lot of effort, a lot of builds. You're keeping the EFs alive. I think you have like 7 or 8 or 9 or 15. I don't know how many you have out there, man, but I'm really excited that you're keeping those builds alive. It's giving me a lot of motivation. It's giving a lot of people out there more motivation. So thank you for doing that, man. You rock. Following that, we got Vtech Academy, aka Hassport, aka, I don't know, more stuff. But we're breaking down the K-series that happens to be in the RDX, which is a really awesome platform. A lot of us like the injectors. I think they're like 310s. We can use them on all plethora of engines, obviously. And we're trying to figure out what is swappable on it. So it's him. We got Brian Gillespie and AD kind of in the garage, kind of taking things apart, trying to figure out, because it'd be really interesting to do head swaps on all of these kind of cars. What head can go on that block, or can that head go on a different block? What's the intake ports look like? The exhaust ports, that obviously we got a turbo situation going on here. You know what? So it's definitely an engine that's overlooked. We take a lot of things off the motor, but we don't do anything with the engine. So Vtech Academy out there getting us schooled, going over a lot of things. I'm really excited for that. Following that, I want to throw out another big shout out to Chris Sadowsky, because while he's on his own right now, working, creating stuff, roll bars, front, rear, all that stuff that he's working on, shout out to you, dude. Keep making these parts, keep making videos of you making it. I'm really excited, and I love watching you create all the stuff that you're doing right now. If you head over to his Instagram or his YouTube, you get to see a lot of the stuff that he's working on. I think he's got 4-point EK ones. He's got 4-point EK rear chassis bars. Man, that was a mouthful, but I think he's got front bars, Del Sol 3-point front bars. I think he has one for the EF and the DA. Obviously, they're very compatible, so he's got a bunch of stuff that he's working on right now. Definitely go over, support the boy, get him out there. He's also got new stickers too, so hit him up. Following that, we got Automotive Anatomy. Bing, 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 right here. Another EK, obviously kind of one of the reasons I brought this up. Not overplayed. This one is amazing. Super duper built. J-swap, which makes it completely different, right? Because we're putting a J-swap now in an EK. You don't really see those. Maybe a long time ago, J-Fab, a really long time throwback to J-Fab, but J-swap, Del Sol, super back in the day. We're talking like, man, what, like 2010, 11, around there? That was a long time ago, you know what I mean? Carbon fiber hood, he cut out the top. Anyways, EK, J-swap, Automotive Anatomy, doing another review right here. Definitely check out this video. Super clean, father-son kind of build, I believe it was. I'm excited. Definitely check out this video. Following that, we got Red Zone TV, the guys out there in Hawaii. Really wanted to throw this video out because I really enjoy videos that people just get to work right away, because I can sit there, I can eat, or I can type, or I can do whatever I'm doing, and I'm looking over, and I'm not really trying to ingest audio. I can just kind of look over, and instantly the guys are in the garage honing a block, putting a bunch of stuff together, building up a K-series, then later on doing some really cool budget single cam stuff. But again, just getting right to work. And if you're the kind of person that needs to see with your eyes before you can do, or you just enjoy watching like things come together, this is an amazing video for you guys. So definitely check out Red Zone TV and their latest video. Next up, we got PFI Speed. Obviously, we know who these guys are out there in Colorado. The Bully finally getting some work, which is basically like a tube frame front with a body on the back that acts as like a wheelie bar. Really interesting concept, and actually really, really cool that we're getting to see the rebuild, kind of getting the revamp on this. So, like I said, guys, definitely check it out. I'm really excited for this build too. Okay, these next two builds I want to talk about right now, specifically one is Keep Gunning, and that is because Aki's out there with an RX-8 getting a K swap. So I'm really enjoying that people are taking the Mazdas out of Mazdas and putting the Honda heart in the Mazda body. Why? Because Mazda actually makes some pretty decent chassis. The RX-8 and the NC are essentially the same chassis. Pretty stiff. And up into the past 2 years, the NC has been really expensive, and most people haven't really wanted to treat it like an NA or NB, but truth be told, the NC is actually a better platform than the both of those. So the fact that people are starting to build NCs for the track, I think is going to become a big thing in the future, because people are 2.5 swapping the NCs, making decent amount of power, and they're swappable because it's the same chassis, RX-8 to NC. So what I'm saying here is the RX-8 is actually an amazing chassis and probably one of the worst motors that Mazda ever made. The Renesis is just a poop of a motor. Obviously, it's no 13B. It's not even a 13B REW, the 13B route. So right out of the gate, pulling that motor out, you've already made a great advancement and investment to this chassis. So if you guys aren't watching Keep Gunning, I would absolutely do that right now, because this build is going to be great. If he builds it at all to the same caliber that he built the Kobe build and every other build on the channel, this RX-8 is going to be legitimate. And I love the fact that we as Honda people are going to put a little Honda into these cars. The bay is probably going to get prepped. The motor is going to look gorgeous. The car itself is just going to look mean as hell, because there's actually some pretty sick kits for the RX-8. But most of the time, Aki builds cars that are very OEM plus with a little flair on it. We all have seen that. So I'm really excited for this build. Regardless of the Mazda, it's built with a Honda heart, and again, it's going to be great. Following that, and to finish this off, another person that is taking a Mazda, which is kind of like, you know, the like legendary granddaddy of the Mazda world, which is the Mazda RX-7 FD, and putting a motor in it as well. We've got Gears and Gasoline bringing you another one of their videos where they're essentially putting a motor that is from Honda. We can't hate this, right? Honda swapping and turboing. Obviously, they come OEM with, you know, twin turbo, but a fat single with a Honda, you can't go wrong. I think they put out about 340, 350 horsepower to the FD, which is another platform that does really, really well at high speed. Early 90s, same time as the NSX, same time as like the R32. All of these cars were meant for like just nighttime ripping, right? And the 13B rev to like 9 or 10,000 RPMs. Obviously, it can go like way higher than that because the Wankel is just a bunch of unicorns running in a circle. But having that much power in that car is not unheard of. It's super stable. The more speed you put at it, the body lines make it really actually nice. It's not actually a bad car, okay? It's not actually a bad car. But putting a Honda heart in these Mazda motors is really interesting to me, because I think a lot of people are starting to realize that Honda reliability with styling of other vehicles give you kind of an upper hand across the board. So props to you two who are doing this. I'm really excited. There's a lot of things that you guys have to deal with, and a lot of people don't really know that. Shout out to Vtech, who did this actually quite some time ago. So hopefully they're reaching out to you and give you some, you know, support, and you can kind of support them as well, because harnesses and getting the car ready and getting everything around it together. The computer system has to talk to each other. It's a lot of effort. It's a lot of effort. And I'm really excited that they're going to go ahead and do this. All right, guys, with that said, that's it for this episode of the Honda Recap. Thanks for joining me for, again, another week. If this is your first time, I hope you enjoyed yourself and you hit that subscribe button, hit that thumbs up and that bell so you're notified every Monday night, 6 p.m. when this airs, West Coast time. We hang out, talk YouTube, talk topics, go over what we talked about last week, and kind of hang out right here every Monday night, weekly. With that said, guys, thanks for joining me. Make sure to head over to HondaVlogs.com/shop. Pick yourself up a shirt, hoodie, or sticker, or anything else you guys want to support the channel. The revamp is coming. More content is coming. And just, I'll see you guys next week. Thanks for joining me. I'll see you guys. Peace.